The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and roses when Margaret Williams arrived at Maplewood Nursing Home. A nurse carried her suitcase down the long hallway, while Margaret clutched her purse close to her chest. She walked slowly, her cane tapping against the polished floor. "This will be your room, Mrs. Williams," the nurse said gently. "It has a nice view of the garden." Margaret nodded politely. Though her eyes stung with unshed tears, it wasn't a bad place. The walls were painted a soft yellow. The bedspread was clean and floral. There was even a rocking chair by the window. But still, it wasn't home. It wasn't the little white house in Ohio where she had raised her son, Michael. She sat on the edge of the bed, her hands trembling. For the first time in 78 years, she realized she was completely alone. First letter. That evening, after unpacking her clothes and setting a family photo on the nightstand, Margaret reached for her stationery. She had always loved writing letters. Her neat cursive had filled many birthday cards and Christmas greetings over the years. She took a deep breath and began. "Dear Michael, today I moved into Maplewood Nursing Home. Don't worry, it's a nice place. The nurses are kind, and my window faces the garden. I can see roses from here, red ones like the ones we used to plant in the backyard when you were little. I know you and Emily are busy in Chicago, and I don't want to trouble you. I'm writing just to let you know I'm okay. Please tell the kids Grandma sends her love. Love, Mom." She folded the letter carefully, slipped it into an envelope, and asked Nurse Linda to mail it. Margaret smiled softly as she placed the pen back on the desk. Writing to Michael made her feel less alone. She imagined him reading her words after a long day at work, maybe even smiling. Life at Maplewood was quiet. Breakfast was served at 7:30 sharp. Oatmeal, toast, and sometimes scrambled eggs. In the afternoons, there were activities. Bingo, knitting circles, movie nights. Most residents were older than Margaret, some with memory problems, some too weak to walk. Margaret tried to join in, but often she found herself by the window, staring at the garden. She remembered summers with Michael, chasing fireflies, barbecues on the 4th of July, Christmas mornings with wrapping paper scattered across the living room floor. Now, the house was sold. Michael had convinced her it was for the best. "Mom," he'd said, standing in her kitchen just 2 months ago. "The house is too big for you now. You'll be safer in a nursing home. They'll take good care of you." Margaret had nodded, though her heart had quietly broken. Second letter. A week later, she wrote again. "Dear Michael, how are you, my dear? Work must keep you so busy. I imagine the city is full of tall buildings and noisy traffic. Sometimes I close my eyes and picture you walking down those crowded Chicago streets in your nice suit. Maplewood had a music night yesterday. A young man played the piano, and I thought of the times you used to practice for hours. Do you remember how you hated scales? I miss hearing you play. Don't worry about me. I'm fine here, but I would love to hear your voice soon. Call me when you can. All my love, Mom." Margaret sealed the envelope and placed it on the bedside table for the nurse. She waited for a reply, checking the mail cart every afternoon. But days passed, and there was nothing for her. One afternoon, Nurse Linda knocked on the door. She was a tall woman with soft eyes and a warm laugh. "How are you settling in, Margaret?" she asked. Margaret forced a smile. "I'm fine. Just waiting for a letter from my son." Linda hesitated, then sat beside her. "Sometimes family gets busy, but I can tell he loves you very much." Margaret nodded, though she wondered if that was true. Still, she continued writing. Third letter. Dear Michael, it's been a while since I heard from you. Maybe my letters got lost in the mail. That happens sometimes. The garden is beautiful this week. The roses are blooming, and a robin comes to my window every morning. It makes me smile. I miss you, sweetheart. I miss our talks. Do you remember when we used to sit on the porch swing at night, just the two of us? I always felt so close to you then. Please write when you can. A few lines would mean the world. Love, Mom. As she sealed this letter, Margaret's hands trembled. She told herself Michael would reply soon. He just needed time. At night, the halls of Maplewood grew silent. Margaret would lie awake, listening to the faint hum of machines, the soft shuffle of nurses' shoes. She reached for the photograph on her nightstand, a picture of Michael with his wife and 2 children at a Christmas dinner years ago. She whispered, "Good night, my boy," before closing her eyes. But sleep came slowly, weighed down by the heavy ache of missing him. Spring turned into summer, and still no letter came from Michael. Every afternoon, Margaret sat by the window as the mail cart rolled down the hallway. She waited with quiet hope, her heart leaping whenever she saw envelopes stacked high. But the nurse always shook her head gently. "Nothing for you today, Mrs. Williams." Margaret smiled politely, though inside, disappointment grew heavier each day. In July, Margaret's 79th birthday arrived. The staff decorated the dining hall with balloons, and they brought her a small cake with pink frosting. The other residents clapped and sang, and Nurse Linda hugged her warmly. But when the candles flickered, Margaret closed her eyes and whispered, "Please let Michael call." The phone on her bedside table stayed silent. That night, she wrote again, "Dear Michael, today was my birthday." The staff here were so kind. They gave me cake and even a little flower in a vase. But I missed hearing your voice. I waited by the phone all day, hoping you might call. I understand, though. You have so many responsibilities. You're working hard for your family. I'm proud of you. Still, I wish you had been here. Not for the cake, not for the candles. Just to sit with me like we used to. Love always, Mom. She folded the letter carefully, her eyes misty with tears. She didn't blame him, not really. She just missed him more than words could say. The seasons passed quickly inside Maplewood. Residents came and went. Some grew weaker, some passed away quietly in the night. Margaret attended memorial services in the small chapel, holding Nurse Linda's hand for comfort. Each loss reminded her of the passing time. "Life doesn't wait," she whispered one morning as she watched leaves fall outside her window. And yet she still waited, for Michael. November came, and the nursing home organized a Thanksgiving dinner. Families visited residents, bringing laughter and warmth into the halls. Tables were set with turkey, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie. Margaret sat at her table, smiling at the other families, but her chair remained empty. Nurse Linda noticed and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Would you like to sit with me and my family, Margaret?" Tears filled Margaret's eyes. "Thank you, dear, but I'll be fine." That night she wrote again, "Dear Michael, it was Thanksgiving today." The dining hall was full of laughter. Families came with flowers, pies, even little gifts. I sat alone, but it's okay. I told myself you were probably having dinner with Emily and the kids. I hope you had a lovely time. I can almost see you carving the turkey, just like your father used to. I miss those days. The long table, the smell of roasted corn, you running around in your little pilgrim hat from school. I'm not angry, sweetheart. Just a little lonely. Please visit soon, even for a day. Love, Mom. She placed the letter in the outgoing mail basket, though she knew deep inside that replies rarely came. One evening, Nurse Linda sat by Margaret's bed. "You write to him so often," Linda said softly. "Does he ever reply?" Margaret hesitated, then shook her head. "Not often. He's busy. But he loves me, I know he does. Life just pulls him away." Linda sighed. "Sometimes people forget that parents grow old too." Margaret looked at the photo on her nightstand. "I just hope he remembers before it's too late." December arrived, and Maplewood glittered with decorations. Residents' rooms were filled with poinsettias, gift baskets, and family visits. Margaret hung a small stocking by her window, just like she had done every year at home. She placed a tiny wrapped chocolate inside, pretending Michael had sent it. On Christmas Eve, she wrote once more, "Dear Michael, Merry Christmas, my son. I imagine the city is bright with lights and carols. I hope Emily and the children are happy and healthy. Here, the halls are quiet tonight. I sang along to Silent Night in the chapel, and it made me think of all the Christmas Eves we shared together. Do you remember how you used to wait by the fireplace for Santa, refusing to go to bed? Those were the happiest years of my life. Not because of presents, but because we were together. I wish we could have one more Christmas like that. With all my love, Mom. After sealing the envelope, she placed it on her nightstand instead of mailing it. Somehow, she knew this letter would never reach him. By the time the new year arrived, Margaret had stopped waiting at the door for the mail cart. She still wrote, but her letters were less hopeful now, more reflective, filled with quiet longing. Sometimes she didn't mail them at all. She just folded them neatly and tucked them into a small box in her drawer, as if keeping her heart preserved in paper. Her body grew weaker that winter, but her mind was sharp, her heart still clinging to memories. She whispered to herself often, "Maybe tomorrow. Maybe he'll come tomorrow." But the silence in her room answered louder than any words. Winter was hard on Margaret. The cold crept into her bones, and her walks to the garden grew shorter. Nurse Linda brought her tea with honey, sitting by her bed during quiet evenings. "You should rest more," Linda urged. "I will," Margaret said softly, but she knew what the weakness meant. Her body was fading, yet one thing remained steady: her letters to Michael. Even when her hands shook, even when words blurred through her tired eyes, she wrote. Writing kept her heart alive. One night, Margaret pressed a fresh sheet of paper and wrote with unusual honesty, "Dear Michael, I don't know if these letters reach you anymore. Perhaps they're lost, or perhaps life keeps you too busy. Either way, I will keep writing because it makes me feel close to you. But tonight, I must tell you the truth. I am lonely, my son. The days here are long, and I wait for your call, your visit, your voice. I don't need gifts or money. I just need you. I forgive you if you cannot come. But I want you to remember, parents don't last forever. One day there will be no more letters, no more waiting. And I pray you will not regret the silence. Love, Mom." She sealed the envelope with trembling fingers. For the first time, she cried openly, her sobs echoing in the small room. By spring, Margaret's health declined quickly. She grew too weak to attend activities. Nurse Linda read to her, brushed her hair, and sometimes held her hand in silence. "Do you want me to call your son?" Linda asked gently. Margaret shook her head. No. If he wanted to come, he would have already. Instead, she asked Linda to bring her the box of letters she had never mailed. She read them slowly, smiling at the memories, weeping at the longing. One April evening, when the sunset painted the sky pink and gold, Margaret wrote her last letter. "Dear Michael, this will be my final letter. My body is tired, and I know my time is near. I don't write this to make you sad, only to leave you with my love. I want you to know that I was proud of you every single day. From the moment you took your first steps to the man you became, my heart was full. I wished for more time with you, more laughter, more holidays, more ordinary days together. But life does not always give us what we wish. If you ever feel regret, please don't carry it too heavily. Just love your children well. Be present in their lives. Call them. Visit them. Let them know they matter. That is the only gift a parent truly needs. I forgive you, my son. I love you. Always. Goodbye. Mom." She folded the letter, placed it in an envelope, and asked Nurse Linda to keep it safe. 2 nights later, Margaret passed away quietly in her sleep. Aftermath. When Michael finally received the call, he was stunned. He rushed to Maplewood for the first time, guilt pressing hard against his chest. Nurse Linda met him at the door. "I'm sorry for your loss," she said softly. Michael's voice cracked. Did she leave anything?" Linda handed him the final envelope. His hands shook as he opened it, eyes scanning every word, tears falling freely. He sat in his mother's empty room for hours, holding the letter to his chest. The photograph of him and his family still stood on the nightstand. Beside it was the box of unsent letters, each one written to him with love he hadn't answered. He read them all, one by one, and felt the weight of silence, the cost of neglect. At Margaret's funeral, Michael spoke softly to his children. "Your grandmother loved you so much. I didn't give her the time she deserved. I was always busy, always distracted. Don't ever make that mistake with me, or with anyone you love. Family needs presence, not just promises." The children nodded, wide-eyed, holding his hands tightly. As the service ended, Michael whispered a vow to the wind. "I will not forget again." The story of Margaret reminds us that love is not measured in money, gifts, or words left unsaid. It is measured in presence, in time, in simple acts of care. Parents do not need perfection. They need to feel remembered, valued, and loved. Because one day, when their voices are gone, it will be too late to say what should have been said.